People want to like make something that's really cool and then put it on the internet and hope that everybody finds it. There was a time where that could happen. And it's not that that doesn't happen. There's so much noise out there that if you don't have a really solid distribution plan, there's a very good chance you could invest a lot of time and resources and energy into making something and it just doesn't go anywhere.
We would all have incredibly successful businesses if the videos that we created for our clients got the exposure that they deserved. So if I can sort of like get through my own stuff and my own like fears of like, oh, are we gonna have enough work? And I should really just get them to sign a contract. Just think through, how can I serve this client best? And it may not be with us. That's what I want to do more of.
Take someone on a journey, so by the time they're a few seconds in, they're like, oh man, we've gone somewhere.
Have you ever thought about creating additional revenue streams in your video business? I have. And one of them has included Facebook ads management to help our clients get more exposure on the amazing videos that we create for them. This is an excellent interview with an ads expert where we cover some ways that you can consider to add value to your clients and possibly help answer that question whether or not adding this service is right for you. All this and more on episode 329. What is up, friends? Hey, it's Ryan from Studio Sherwood. Ryan Coral, yeah, it's me. I just watched one of these little intros and I'm like, wow. The fact that you're here and that you watch this or listen to this show, man, I can be so annoying. Anyway, I'm so happy that you're here. How often does the host say that they're so annoying? Well, okay, I just did it. And anyway, this show is for corporate commercial filmmakers where we talk about the business of production. I started my video business 18 years ago in our little townhouse that we lived in. My wife and I were just married, and very, very humble beginnings. I started really creating these little slideshows, birthdays, anniversaries. Prices started at $49. And I'm happy to say that I've changed what we offer. So we do really cool brand films today, and we charge a lot more than $49. So yes. Anyway, I'm so passionate about the business of what we do. I love talking about sales and marketing. I love thinking through process and ways to do things more efficiently. And I've learned a lot of things over the last 18 years. And this show is the culmination. All the things, I try to share all the things that work well and that don't work inside of this show and outside like coaching. And I've got products and other things that you can become a part of if you're like, wow, this is really good and really helpful. This episode, this one in particular, I think there's really good stuff in here to help you think through, because you should be thinking through different things in your business, different ways to make money. So you may just say like, oh yeah, we do this one thing and that can go really well for you. But sometimes there are other things that we can add and offer to our clients that can create a lot more value and that don't require much more work at all. And so we're going to dive into that in this episode. I'm really excited about it. If you are struggling to earn $100,000 or more in your video business, I've got something brand spanking new that I want to share with you to help you. I am hosting a live paid workshop called the Profit Accelerator, which is designed to help you skyrocket your profits. Who wrote this stuff? In this live workshop, we're going to dive into some very helpful, what I think are very helpful and game-changing tips and strategies that I use in my business to have built a 7-figure business. And I know students that I have that are using and applying some of these same strategies. Things that we're going to cover in this workshop are how to charge confidently for pre-production so that you're not leaving money on the table. So you're not having clients say like, why are you charging me for planning? And what are these line items on here? I'm going to also go over how you can maximize your margins to make sure that your business thrives. We're going to pull out some spreadsheets. We're going to do some math. I'm going to show you some very simple things that you can do as you are planning, as you are estimating, to make sure that you're making as much money as you can and being as profitable as you can. So there's making money, but the more money that you can keep out of what you make, there's a difference there because it costs money to run your business, and that part that costs money that's your expenses, and anything left over is your profit. So I'm going to show you how to make more, how to keep more, how to make more, and how to keep more of your profits. We're also going to go over the center stage effect, where I'm going to show you how you can boost sales with tiered offerings. There is some psychology up my sleeves that I'm going to share with you. And then lastly, I'm going to show you how monetizing your expertise by offering paid workshops to your clients, for your clients, can lead to happier clients, more profits, and better paying jobs. There's a lot more that we're going to cover in this live paid workshop. It's a super affordable price. And I just want to say, I hardly ever have promoted something that you have to pay for. Most everything that I try to do online on the podcast is free, and I'm just really excited about doing something new. So I wanted to just say, hey, I'm doing this paid workshop. If you're not interested, that's fine. Don't go to the page. But if you're interested in learning more about the Profit Accelerator workshop, live workshop, go to studiosherpas.com/profit. I'm confident that you're going to walk away with some actionable things that you're going to be able to apply immediately in your business so that you can make more and keep more money. And that's kind of why I'm charging. I only want people that are really serious about doing the thing in their business that's going to make a difference in their business. So again, get all the information by going to studiosherpas.com/profit. Hope to see you at that live workshop. And without any further ado, let's jump into this amazing episode. And here we go. What's up, friends? Hey, welcome to another episode of the show. Today, I have a guest with me, and his name is Brice Gump. Brice is an entrepreneur and advertising expert, born and raised in Texas, although these days you can actually find him living abroad in Barcelona. Over the last 10 years, he has worked with dozens of businesses in all different industries to generate tens of thousands of leads and millions of dollars in sales online. Today, he runs a marketing agency that helps online experts leverage video marketing to grow their business. Brice, it's so good to have you on the show today.
Glad to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. How glad on a scale of 1 to 10?
I would actually say a solid 9, you know?
All right, I'm going to get it up to a 10 by the time we're done here. Remind me to ask you at the end, how we're doing. Give me just some context, or give us some context on how you went from, wherever you were at to being able to generating thousands of leads. Can you generate thousands of leads and millions of dollars for me? I guess that's my only question today. And how can we do that? That's
a good question to have. Yeah, man, I got started doing this whole thing right after college. I was always pretty computer, savvy.
Computer nerd,
on my computer a lot
me.
After work.
That was me.
Yeah, exactly. That was always me all my life. So when I got done with school, it was kind of man, I got to do something. I went to school for political science, so nothing related to marketing at all. But yeah, so I started helping people with websites, started helping people do some design, just set stuff up right after college. And the kind of one of the first things we figured out was we would build these websites and no one would ever find them. And then it was well, then what do you do? And so we did some SEO stuff, and then we started running ads. And what I just gravitated towards naturally was running ads, because we could build these websites and then we could start running ads. And then within 72 hours, we had actual leads coming in through the site because someone clicked on our ad, went to our site and became a lead. And so that was always really exciting. And that's just kind of evolved over the years of a lot of trial and error, a lot of learning stuff on the internet, a lot of getting to work on really cool projects, to where at this point now, we've probably managed a couple $1 million between Facebook and Google ads. And when you spend a couple $1 million, you can get a couple $1 million back in sales.
That's a lot of money to manage in sales. It makes my heart race a little bit. I'm whew, that just sounds like a huge responsibility. Any feelings of that? This is a big deal?
I think you take it piece by piece, when I first got started, we were working with local businesses. And so people would be hey, we have a $500 budget. Please don't screw this up, because this is
right.
This is the last $500 I have, you know? And you're okay, cool, I got it. But then we started working with bigger companies where it was cool, we're trying to spend $2,000 a day. And you're oh, okay, cool, let's make that happen, and you figure it out. And then you have one or two of those at the same time, and you're all of a sudden you're looking at it and you're like, man, I'm managing like $500,000 a month in ads right now. This is pretty great, I don't know. One thing I've found just kind of in the entrepreneurial journey in general is like figuring out what your personality type is and what you kind of lead into. Yeah. And I'm just kind of a pretty analytical, like numbers guy. Like if you throw me in a spreadsheet and tell me to figure it out, I'll be there all day, So So running ads kind of gravitates towards that kind of mindset of like, okay, cool, we're just getting data back and we can use that to make decisions, and then every day or every week just make more decisions to move ourselves in the right direction. And next thing you know, you've got quite a bit of money on your hands.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I think this is such an interesting topic, and one that I've thought about a lot in the past, and we've had some conversations around, very similar to like building a website and like putting it out there and then hoping that people find it. It's the same thing with the videos that we create for our clients. And it's very frustrating because we would all have incredibly successful businesses if the videos that we created for our clients got the exposure that they deserved, right? The intention that the client has, the desires that the client has for, their videos to not necessarily go viral, but to get exposed to their ideal client. But just getting a video doesn't solve that problem, right? Just getting a website doesn't solve that problem. So if there was a magic formula, okay, take the word magic out. If there was a formula that we could say like, hey, like we'll create this video, put it on, X page or do these things, and then you will get the right people seeing it and then doing the thing that you want them to do. Is there a formula, like as we're planning out videos for clients, are there questions and things that we should be thinking through that could help set up whether or not we do ads, but to get them positioned so that if a client did say, yeah, we're going to turn some ads on, are there some things that we should be thinking about?
Definitely. Yeah, I think, as video creators, as producers, you guys are in a super advantageous position because you guys take care of the toughest part. Me running an ad agency and being, more the analytical person, like I will tell everybody it's like all of our success determines on how good the actual ads we are running are and the products we are creating those ads for. And so I kind of stumbled into video marketing backwards because I was on the ad side of things and then we needed to make videos to do it. But if you're coming in and you're making videos and then you're starting to get aligned in the distribution, I think, I saw this when I first started working with websites. We see this all the time with clients, with content, all kinds of stuff. People want to like make something that's really cool and then put it on the internet and hope that everybody finds it. And I think there was a time where that could happen. And it's not that doesn't happen, but it's like, there's so much noise out there that if you don't have a really solid distribution plan, there's a very good chance you could invest a lot of time and resources and energy into making something and it just doesn't go anywhere. But that's where having an advertising plan and a distribution plan comes in really handy, because it's like, instead of saying like, hey client, thanks for that $5, $10, $15, $20,000 video, whatever you're charging, and being like, post this on your Instagram and let us know how it goes. You're like, hey client, here's this great video. Now we're going to help you distribute this on social media for the next 3 months using some very specific targeting that is your exact customer avatar. And so once you have that capability, you're able to then help them get that in front of the right people and make sure that those are driving the kinds of actions that they want. And I think, again, like, because you guys are making video, a lot of what goes into making a great video. The one thing that I think kind of changes when you start running ads is starting to think a little bit more about the context in which someone is watching an ad, because they're not necessarily, it's not like they found you online, Googling you, got to your website, saw a pretty, video, wanted to click play. They're going to sit down and watch the next 3 minutes. You're really like grabbing someone off social media and trying to grab their attention and keep it really quickly. And so one of the best things that we do, like when we're making videos, is we make different intros. So like we'll make 4 or 5 different 3 to 5 second intros, because we found that whatever's on the video is, usually pretty good. It's just getting someone to actually pay attention and watch the video can be the tough part. And so I think that's just one of the biggest things is like, if you can start to think through like, okay, how are we going to grab someone's attention with this video? How can we even potentially like, and I know this from getting people to make videos, depending on what kind of talent you have. It's like, especially if you only have one day with the talent, it's kind of like what we'll do is write 4 or 5 different hooks, have them do all of them, make all of them. And then it's like, cool, we're going to run ads to all 5 of these. And then we'll tell you which one did best. And then the winner gets to stay.
I like it. I think part of the challenge is, for all of us that are listening in on this, we service a lot of different kinds of industries and a lot of different we have a lot of different specialties. So it's not like a one size fits all, like, oh yeah, you do this, do this kind of video, because even as we're talking about like creating a hook, yes, so important regardless of if you're doing ads or not, because if you're not intriguing people in the first few seconds of your video, it's like they're going to click off, and that totally like defeats the purpose of investing all this time and energy and money and all of the things. So when you're with your experience, are you working mostly with like the people that are, creating like somebody like me, like where, I'm the business owner? Are you working with me and I'm talking into camera, that kind of hook? Or are you working with people that are creating, different kind of hooks, and what might be some examples?
Yeah. So a lot of what we work with, particularly in our agency, is like people who are experts, coaches, consultants, service providers. So we're dealing with a lot of like business owner operated businesses. Yeah. So I'm sure depending on what your industry is, that totally changes things. But we are sometimes having like a business owner talk to a camera. Sometimes we can't get someone on camera, so we'll do like B-roll and voiceovers. We've had clients that just aren't particularly good on camera, so we'll just hire actors and just get them to do like a talking head style video for them as well. So we've experimented with different types, but in every single one of those, when we script out the video, we're scripting out, cool, what are some different intros we can use, either like, in our actual like script, or just visually, like how could we visually try to capture someone's attention differently in those first couple of seconds to grab attention. And that's kind of how we look at trying to think about how to get a few different options for figuring out what's going to work best.
Are there any like visual hooks where you're like, man, every time we do this, this wins almost all of the time?
No, I wouldn't say there's like one particular. I wouldn't say there's one particular. I would just say like moving, man. Like you can. I mean, I learned this way later. You can make a really boring video look really good with video editing. I didn't know that. I had to learn that, over time. Yeah. We hired some really good video editors eventually, and I was like, oh man, this is actually really good. So if you can get some like movement effect and some transitions right in the very beginning, that can make a really big difference. And if you could do that, actually recording it that way too, even better, But we do think about like, how can we get someone kind of moving with us on a journey over the first couple of seconds, so that maybe you've got like a couple different locations, or you've switched to a couple different B-rolls. You can get a couple different locations, even better, where like the actual person, because that just kind of, takes someone on a journey. So by the time they're a few seconds in, they're like, oh man, we've gone somewhere.
So let's think of like, for an example, we've got a very large law firm that we work with, and they're not like injury, it's not like the guy like, hey, have you been injured? Like, it's not that. It's like very high end, that right now we're working on a piece of like cybersecurity and AI and just this like really complex, so they've got this massive team, offices all over. So it's just a very refined type of law firm. So a person on camera, I'm just not even sure that, or like talking directly into camera, I'm not even sure that that's something that would vibe with their brand. So an approach like that, where I just said, dude, we've got some powerful, like, stuff that needs more exposure. What might be an example of something working with that kind of client or that kind of product, if you will?
So what kind of videos are you guys making for them now? Are these like, do you have like a voiceover script going over some B-roll?
No, I mean, we're a lot of interviews with, very smart lawyers that kind of talk about capabilities, and here's why you should consider, if you have cybersecurity or you don't, we're kind of the team that we have the experts, we have the know-how. We definitely want to come alongside and be able to help people that are in that spot.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, if that was the case and I had like interviews, I would probably just experiment with like, how could you preview the highlighted part of the interview at the very beginning and then loop back around to it, kind of like a movie trailer, right? It's like, how do you, they give you the good stuff in the beginning and then they take you back to the beginning and then they run you through the rest of it. And I'm sure you could probably pull different clips from the interview and have like 3 or 4 different intros right there at the beginning. and just experiment with it that way, you know?
Yeah. I like that. As a video production agency, one of the things, as an entrepreneur too, so I know a lot of people I've coached and had conversations with, it's like, man, if we could offer, ads or ad management to our clients, it makes so much sense to be able to help your clients that are leaning on you for video, but don't have any distribution plan. So it's just like, okay, you're going to hand this off and then hope that they do something with it so that they call you back and do more video because that one was successful and they've got other departments or other things that they want. And you're just like, it's just this like, and it doesn't happen. So it's very sexy and alluring as a production person or as an entrepreneur to say like, man, we could probably make some more money if we offered this. We've tried it. Our video agency tried it. We gave it like just kind of one opportunity, and the person that we worked with was a total jerk, and it like really like was rude to like one of our guys, and we're just like, man, this is so it was weird, and I wasn't totally sold on it because it's a totally different way of running a business. It's a totally, it's like a business inside of a business. So all of that to say, do you recommend, like, is it smart for a video agency to consider how can we do this in-house and offer this, or partner with somebody like you, or I don't even know if that's kind of the stuff that you would do, or you just say like, no, just send them our way. That's probably the easiest and best experience for a client. What would you say or recommend?
Yeah, I mean, I think, one thing I've learned in business is there's usually not like a one size fits all answer. So I think a lot of it depends on your resources and what kind of resources you have internally and what you're looking for. So like whether or not you do it in-house or you partner with somebody is probably more of like that kind of question. Mm-hmm. Because I think when you're spending money on ads, you're spending money, every day. So you want to make sure you have the right person in there. Yeah. And it's costly it's costly not only in time, but in actual dollars to have the wrong person inside there. So for that reason, it's probably not best to like try to figure it out with, like have someone on the team, take a couple Udemy courses and see what happens. But whether or not you actually...
Hang on, sorry. We can't undo the past. So been there, done that. Okay. And continue.
Yeah. Okay. In hindsight, maybe that wasn't the best idea. But then as far as like partnering with someone or sending someone that way, I think there's always something out there, personally, like if we found a really great video agency, like, hey, we partner and run our stuff, I'd be like, absolutely. Like we would love to find really great video companies and figure out a way that we could work together with them. And so I think there's definitely options like that out there. Or if you're just like, hey man, I don't even want to deal with it because, I don't want to deal with the client anymore. I don't want to deal with the ad stuff. Then it is more of like a, hey, let's see if we can hand it off to somebody sort of thing. So I think whatever, depending on your resources and stuff, there's something out there. But as an agency and as a company who's trying to figure out how to deliver the best results for your clients so that they come back and ultimately you have a better result for them so you can use that in the future, it's like figuring out how to help them have a distribution plan. So it's not like, hey, here's the video and then you can, do whatever you want with it and come back if it works really well, is like a smart thing to think about. Mm.
Yeah. And I would just caution anybody who's thinking like, oh, this could be another revenue source. Take my own, in my experience, just saying like, yeah, we can do this. And we did do it and it was going fine. But it was like, you have to have the capacity, like kind of what Brice is saying, like you have to be able to budget extra hours to do the stuff. And it's like a daily kind of commitment. And I don't know, I would almost suggest doing it for yourself first, right? Experimenting on how can we create some leads for our production company. And then if you realize that you're not managing it well, you're not staying on top of it, it's just not working, then you can just blame yourself and get mad at yourself versus like, okay, I'm going to take this chance because there's so many different things that we can do in video, just in video alone, not even like ads or promoting, that can take us away from really what we know best and where we can make the most money. So just a word of caution, just because there is an opportunity for money doesn't mean that it is best suited for how your business is set up.
Yeah.
Definitely. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, definitely not everything is for everybody, but for sure, like, if you see an opportunity there, like finding someone to partner with, I can tell you from being on the media buying side, there's so many agencies that are just would love to find people who would hand them great video ads and say, do the rest. Because of course with advertising, it's not just like what buttons are you pushing? It's like, what landing page are you sending people to? What are the offers on those landing pages? Are those compelling? Oftentimes we have to test a couple, because there's a big difference if you ask someone to get a free quote versus, some kind of other offer that you can make on that landing page. So there's a lot of variables there, but there's definitely probably possibilities for partnerships and stuff with people, so that you can find that kind of like distribution and get a piece of that and help your clients get better results.
Yeah, I love that. Most of what we do are brand films. And with brand films, there's no clear call to action. It's not like, sign up to our list or call now.
Yeah.
It's very much like we're trying to create a feeling. We're trying to evoke emotion and build a connection with the viewer. So that's, a 3-minute video. Client's going to spend potentially tens of thousands of dollars on this piece. And they're always like, well, what's the ROI? It's like, it's really like you're building trust and building confidence in the person that might be your perfect fit audience. So if that's the only piece that we do for a client, is there a way for us to, because I know promoting that video as an ad is like, it's like, it is worthless, but maybe there are pieces in that, or maybe there's something else that we could, while on set, while doing these heartfelt interviews, maybe there's something else that we could try to capture that could eventually lead to, hey, this could be used as an ad. So with that context, I don't know if those kinds of film make sense to you. I know that so many of us, that's what our passion is. That's what we love creating, are these stories that aren't salesy at all. They don't feel like, we're trying to dupe you into buying something that you don't need.
Yeah.
So is there a way to bring that like authentic, heartfelt kind of storytelling into this world of promotion and paid ads?
Yeah, for sure. Because I think that there are a lot of ways that you could, like if you came to me and you said like, hey, we've got this company, they're amazing. They do amazing things. And they really make a great impact for their customers. We've got this awesome video that's super emotionally engaging, and people, it's incredible. People watch it, they get tears in their eyes. It's just, we did such a good job. How could we help this business grow if we were using ads? I'll be like, cool. Let's run that as an ad. And then anyone who watches the whole video, let's follow up with a different ad that has an image and text and that has a call to action on it to take the next step. Because then you're using what you created to create that emotional connection with somebody. And then if someone had that emotional connection, presumably because they watched 75 or 90% of the video, then it's like, cool, there's got to be a next step with the company. Most companies have some kind of call to action eventually,
Right.
So even if that's not in your video, that could be the next step. And then that could be like one way to just start thinking about how opportunities are, because once you kind of get an understanding for like how these platforms work, there's a way to like follow up with people as they engage through video, which is really cool about video. And so if you could have something like that, you could build some stuff out without necessarily needing it to be another video. And then, over time, if you found like something like that worked, there's always opportunities to like, I've seen some really cool companies out there that do packages. So it's like, hey, we make one super awesome video for you, and then we help you do like 3 30-second follow-up clips. And those are, your social media call to action sort of things. And so, one that's probably, maybe an opportunity for you guys, again, in a hypothetical world where you decide to go down this route because that's the right thing for you. If that's an opportunity for you to add something into your packages, and that's also an opportunity for you to be a part of the distribution and help people get, better results, so they tell their friends about you and come back for more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, love that. Yeah, that makes sense if it's the right fit for you. So let's just say we've got this amazing client. We've told this beautiful brand film, brand story, and I'm like, I'm not managing this thing, Brice. I've got this amazing client, And I want to say, like, you guys have to get exposure for this. So to partner with somebody like you, or to partner, or to just to hand it off to somebody like you, what kind of expectations can I give to the client to say, like, consider investing, X amount of dollars to work with my friend Brice, who will be responsible for getting more exposure. And obviously, like, ad cost being whatever the ad cost is, but to actually engage and kind of get started in that world, where would you recommend, or what would you give me that I could help somebody else?
For sure. I think that if you've never ran ads and you're like thinking about getting into that world, again, one of the things that I tell people a lot, because this is just my experience, is like, usually most businesses that start running ads don't start their business by running ads. You've probably got some traction organically. You've probably got some traction with something you're already doing. And now you want to get going on with ads. There's likely going to have to be some retooling of what you have into making it ad friendly. So oftentimes what we see for a lot of businesses is like the things that they were using to generate leads and customers organically is not the exact same thing they can use to run ads to. It's probably going to have to be like adjusted, maybe some of the copy, some of the messaging, some of the sequencing, all of that stuff, so that it's just more like cold traffic friendly, we would say, like someone who's never heard of it before clicking on an ad. Yeah. And so there's usually like a setup process involved with that. And there's usually like a testing process involved with that. So you're going to have to set stuff up. You're going to have to test it out. You might spend a month or two testing things before you regularly figure out what works. And then it just becomes a matter of like figuring out, all of that should be adjusted to like what the company's overall goals are. Like some companies, depending on, the size they're at and where they're at, they're like really looking for immediate sales because they're, they have a product that's available right on their site. Some companies are looking for leads because they need to get someone on the phone with the sales team. And so depending on where you're at, it's like all to figure out how to adjust that for your goals. But yeah, usually a couple months to test things out. You're probably going to have to set some stuff up in the beginning. That's probably going to cost you, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 to kind of get everything up and running. And then from there, like you should expect that your advertising is turning some kind of profit from you on a consistent basis. We have clients that are happy breaking even with their ads because they have other products that they sell people. And so if they spend $50,000 this month, they're pretty happy if they make, $47,000 and, have the agency fee taken care of, and then they're good to go there. And then we have clients that are like, hey, if we're not getting $3 back for every dollar we're putting in, we're not hitting enough for our revenue numbers that we need to hit. And so it kind of varies depending on the goal, but you should be able to find someone that can help you work those numbers out as well.
Yeah, that's insightful. I mean, having a mindset of a go-giver or somebody that wants to help your clients, really that, any conversation that I have, even if I know from the very onset of conversation, it's like, oh man, this person, they have no budget for video. And currently I have somebody who, she's so sweet and like, she's doing really, really great stuff, but has no idea how much video costs. And I'm just kind of like, but I still want her to be served in some way. And I know it's not going to be by us. So to be able to share with your client a resource like you guys, or any other resource that could help them, whether maybe it's another video company that works with that specific industry or that specializes in ads, to be able to do that, to be able to hand off, make that introduction, you will be seen as the hero for your client, or not even your client, for your potential client. And at the end of the day, like that's like great customer service, even if they never are your customer, because the impression that you give them is that you want to be helpful, that you want them to succeed, you want them to win. So if and when they run into somebody else that's like, you know what, we didn't hire them because it just wasn't the right fit, but they would be perfect for you. That's where like that stuff kind of comes back, and it makes sense to build relationships with other video people, and then also figure out what are the other aspects. If we're going to create video for a client, what else do they need to achieve success, to get views, to get engagement, to get leads, to get sales, and maybe it's before they even work with you. I know for us, we've recommended and referred people like, hey, you should really go through the story brand process. You should hire a story brand certified guide, kind of get this brand script, because if you had that brand script, that would be the perfect thing. Now, we could take you through a process and kind of get that, and we do our own thing, but based on all the other stuff that you're wanting to do, your website, all these things, that would be such a great thing. And we've had people who have like gone another direction and hired a consultant and not us. And it's just like, you know what, like I would have loved the business, but at the end of the day, like that's really what they needed. So if I can sort of like get through my own stuff and my own like fears of like, oh, are we going to have enough work? And I should really just get them to sign a contract and just think through, how can I serve this client best? And it may not be with us. That's what I want to do more of. And definitely, obviously want to be able to encourage other people to do that as well.
Yeah. I think, there's too many people on the internet that are like happy to sell people stuff that they don't need. But we turn away clients all the time because you just look at them, you're like, hey, you're just not ready to run ads. You know, like if you're making less than $10,000 a month, you probably don't need to be running ads. You probably need to get something else fixed, you know? So yeah, you're definitely right on that one.
Are there any focuses? Like, are you doing LinkedIn ads? Are you doing YouTube ads? I assume you're probably doing Facebook ads. What are the things? And
Facebook and Google are the two big platforms out there. So there's definitely others. We haven't really ventured into TikTok. We kind of played around with that world, but it's just such a different type of video that we just didn't even want to crack the code on that one for now. But we do a lot of Google because Google owns YouTube. So we run a lot of YouTube ads, and then we do a lot of Facebook because Facebook and Instagram. So between those three, those are our major video platforms.
And for those different platforms, YouTube versus Facebook, are the kinds of videos, the hooks, are those pretty much the same, or are you guys trying to get different stuff?
We find that different videos work on the two platforms. So a lot of times what we're looking at is like, the core messaging will be the same. You know, a lot of the general like angles we can take in the ads, the messaging we can use in the ads can be very similar, but like we will see that shorter videos work better with Facebook and Instagram, whereas like YouTube, we might be running like 2, 3, 5-minute videos.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And then what about like vertical versus horizontal?
We run both because we run a lot of like vertical stuff on mobile. And we find that works best. Facebook, Instagram, we're doing a lot of mobile stuff, and then YouTube, horizontal for desktop, and that also works well on mobile, but then we'll run like mobile only campaigns too. So that's kind of what we spend a lot of time resizing videos, you know, get one working and then figuring out what's the right way to chop it up. Like, okay, cool. We've got the 3-minute version running on YouTube. We also need to have a 1-minute version to run for kind of like the mobile versions, because we've seen those work really well. Let's try that one out on Instagram, see if that works. Okay, let's bring it back over here.
And then what about natively? Like, you know, production wise, we can shoot something horizontal or we can shoot it vertically. And there are some pros and cons to, you know, shooting it like in those different formats. But have you seen any difference? I know this is like real granular.
I mean, definitely, I would say the majority of what we do is all horizontally shot and then cropped in for vertical. So I would say that's the majority of what we're doing. We do have some clients that are just like, you know, I would say the majority of our clients are not super video creative savvy. And so we're trying to make the most out of the time we can get them in front of the camera and then repurpose that every way possible. So we shoot everything in horizontal and then recrop it. We do have some clients that'll like, you know, they're way more savvy and they'll shoot vertical videos and do stuff with their phone and get us stuff that way. And that works too. I think especially with the advertising world, like we end up going through a lot of creative. So yeah, both.
Yeah. And then what about any best practices for a company like ours that would say like, we would love to work with a company like yours, be able to partner together and serve our clients in a bigger, better way. Any best practices or things that we could think through that would make us an all-star partner or refer for someone like you?
Man, I mean, I think in the agency world in general, what's really valuable is like communication and expectations. So, you know, we try to under promise and over deliver a lot. So if you can go to a client and tell them realistically, hey, this is the goal. These are what the expectations are. This is why we think this would be a good initiative. We think we could hit these goals, you know, but we're not promising millions of dollars. And then someone comes to us with aligned expectations, then it's like, cool, we're ready to roll. And then you have good communication between everybody so you can get that going. I think that's always the most important stuff. I think a lot of the issues that people run into when it comes to most like services in general online is like misaligned expectations. Someone gets promised the world and then when it doesn't show up, they get upset.
Yeah. Yes. I can make all your dreams come true. Trust me.
We can do it all in 6 months.
Oh man. I feel like in even like early years of running a business, I felt like there was a lot of pressure to just say yes. Like, yeah, we can do that. And a lot of figuring it out and a lot of missed expectations along the way. And so whether or not a client like acknowledges that or not, it's something that they feel. And it's just like, that's probably why you're not working with that client anymore.
I think if you're a business owner, and particularly if you're like a new business owner, you have to accept the fact that you're going to make some promises that you're not going to be able to keep. That's just the reality of business. Yeah. But you shouldn't be doing that in a way where you're like misleading or, misguiding anybody. Like there's a way to make promises, and then if you don't hit those, you own up to it and you say, hey, look, we set some goals, we didn't get there. Here's why we think that is. Here's what the plan is. Do you want to move forward with us or not? And that's people appreciate that a lot. If you'll just shoot them straight. Mm-hmm. A lot of people do not do that. A shocking amount of people do not do that actually. So
yeah, let's not be those people.
We're not those people. No one needs to be that person.
Yeah. Well, what else? What am I not asking here that would be helpful for us today?
No, I mean, I think we've talked about a lot here. Again, one of the things I said earlier that I think is super super important for anyone thinking about going down this path is like really getting very clear on like what are the resources you have available and what are you really good at? Mm-hmm. Because if you've got a very analytical brain and, time on your hands or someone really good on the team that's really good at that stuff, this could be something you could pursue in-house or you could look at doing or at least like learning about. Because I think if a lot of people understood, like the power of what you can do with even a small budget, like for us as an agency right now, like we spend a couple $100s a month promoting videos online, and like that starts conversations for us. So like it doesn't have to be crazy. Yeah. If you know what you're doing, it can be pretty powerful. So if you know how to do all that, and that's kind of like the resources and the kind of mindset that you have, I think it's worth looking into if you don't have too much on your plate. At the same time, like if not, like looking for partners in that could be really valuable as well, because I would imagine too for a lot of video production companies, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's probably a lot of like one-off projects for a lot of people. Yeah. And one of the beautiful things about having a model like this where you're in the distribution is like it becomes like a monthly recurring in your business. And so that's really valuable too. And you could totally partner out and find someone that could help you do that. Again, like we would love to partner with great video producers and help them distribute their videos and then, partner up and, distribute the profits evenly. So definitely stuff out there. It's just kind of like figuring out, get really clear on like what's right for you and what direction you want to go. And then, searching for what you're looking for.
I'm curious. That's all really good. Listening to you even talk about how you guys are spending a couple $100 a month for somebody like us, production company. Give me some homework. Say like, okay, Ryan, like you want to create some kind of ad. Again, knowing that the thing that we're creating isn't necessarily the thing that can straight up say like, yeah, there's ROI in creating a brand film. So how do I show up to, essentially like we need more leads and people that value storytelling and that understand that, as part of the big picture marketing, that this could be a key piece to reaching their ideal client.
Well, I mean, if you, from the conversations that you have with your clients, like if they're not buying on ROI, what are you selling them? Because they're buying for something. Yeah.
I think confidence, having a piece that communicates who they are, allows that, like you before a discovery call or after a discovery call, like, hey, check out, this is really who we are in our essence, and to communicate, some capabilities, but really the passion and the heartbeat behind, so that when you're looking at one company versus another, you're psychologically, if you connect on an emotional level, like you're going to be more connected to and want to work with, these guys over here.
That's super powerful. I'm sure you could create, if I would have a series of videos that kind of explains that in a few different ways, like why you guys do what you do, what you guys do is powerful, and like what are the kinds of experience people have had working with you guys, and what are the results that they've seen for their business, even selling them on the confidence and the happy customers that they get, because people see a lot of value in that. If you had 3 to 4 videos that were between like 3 to 10 minutes long, you could spend $400 a month on ads. And the call to action could be shoot us a message if you're interested, and just go for like inbound messages, and that's a real powerful way to get services out there.
And you're saying these 3-minute to 10-minute videos, these are films that we've done, or this is like kind of educating on? Yeah,
this would be that you guys would create for yourselves. You could use parts of what you've done, but I would definitely make something like catered to this. I wouldn't try to like reuse anything you've got. Make a couple of videos that are specifically speaking to like, hey, if you're a lawyer hanging out on social media right now, and you've got a lot of competition in your space, and you want to figure out how are you going to connect with these people better. Like, have you ever thought about having the power of what a really well done story video could do to help you convert a lot of these leads into these clients that are also talking to you and your 7 other firms that are in your town, and they go, oh, wow, that's a good idea.
Yeah, get them to lean in. So those 3 to 10 minute videos, like on YouTube, I sort of feel like that's like more like, yeah, that's reasonable. People are going to hang out for a few minutes, but you're seeing even on Facebook, people hanging out for 3 to 10 minutes there, or are you kind of saying like, no, that's probably more the YouTube world?
Dude, people watch 10-minute videos on Facebook all the time.
Yeah.
I was actually looking at some stats this morning because I launched a new video earlier this week, and I was paying 72 cents to get someone to watch a 10-minute video.
Oh,
not bad.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard from any of those people, so like that hasn't generated any inbound inquiries yet. But for spending $30, I got about 30 people so far to spend 10 minutes listening to me talk. That's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
And so kind of one of our strategies going forward and what we're working on is trying to think about like, cool, how could we have a process in place so that, we have a few of these going out every month. And we can just see over time which ones develop the most inquiries. To be honest, I had a call with a guy earlier this week, and we jumped on the call, and I was like, hey, because he sent me a DM on Instagram after we posted a story video, and I got on the phone with him, and he goes, yep, been following you for 2 years. And it's like, that's kind of the power of the internet, right? So I think there is value in saying like, cool, I'm going to spend $400 a month on some of these social media ads. We post them organically, but then we run ads to them. We rotate them out depending on how their performance is, and then I think that pays off over time.
I love it. Dude, this is so good. How can people connect with you, find out more about your agency and what you guys are up to?
Yeah, so the website is majorimpactmedia.com. So that's the main website, and then I'm all over social media. I'm pretty active. So if you like Twitter, I'm on there, Brice Gump, Instagram, Brice Gump Digital, and then YouTube. I post a lot of videos about what we're doing, and that's Brice Gump as well. So if you just Google me, you can find me, and I try to be really active online. We post a lot of video content, so you can figure out what we're doing. I kind of share our whole story, and you can reach out to me that way.
Love it. Cool. Awesome. Well, how do you want to leave us today, Brice?
No, that's all I got, man. This was great. This was super exciting to get to talk with you. I'm definitely at a 10 now, so I had a great time.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. This is awesome. This is great.
Oh, man. So appreciate you coming on. Love your insights. Love the success that you've had. Thank you for being with us today. Really, really do appreciate it.
Good. Thanks for having me, man.
All right, friend, if you want the show notes, if you want links to the things that we talked about, you can get them at the show notes by going to studiosherpas.com/329. If you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, I love to read your comments. I will comment back. leave a comment on Facebook or YouTube, wherever you're watching this. Or you can also email me if something stood out. If you have a takeaway, an action step, something that you want to let me know, email me, ryan@studiosherpas.com. Love to hear from you. And don't forget, if you want to make more money and keep more of the money that you make, don't miss the Profit Accelerator live workshop by going to studiosherpas.com/profit. Cannot wait to see you there. That is it, my friend. I will see you on next week's episode. Ta-ta for now.